Welcome to Smart Tuts. Today we are going to connect our Smart Tuts first application to a Git version control system. Now, the Git version control system that we're going to use in our tutorial today is going to be BitBucket. Now, what exactly is a version control system? Well, it's basically a system that records changes to the files or set of files over time so that you can record specific versions later. So let's dive in straight into it. The first thing we're going to do is let me just log out so that I show you straight from the beginning. The first thing you need to do is open bitbucket.org. It's right there. And the next thing you need to do is log into your BitBucket or create an account if you don't already have a BitBucket account. I prefer to use Google to log in so that I don't have to manually type in the email, the passwords, and other items. So let's log into BitBucket right now. Now my account name is smarttuts@gmail.com. The first thing we're going to do, the first thing you'll see in BitBucket is your dashboard. And so the first thing we're going to do is create a repository, and we're going to call our repository Smart Tuts tutorial, Smart Tuts, or let's just call it Smart Tuts code. Our access level is going to be private. Do we want to include a readme file? At the moment we're going to say no, because we want to edit at a later stage. Now go to your advanced settings and let's add a description for our repository. Smart Tuts code. We're going to say our Smart Tuts code. The language we're going to use, it could be Java, but for now we're going to put the language as Android. And now you can click on create repository. Alright, looks like our repository has been created. Next thing we need to do, if you don't already have an Android application, please create one in AndroidStudio. You can check out the tutorial on how to create a new application on Android tutorial from the previous tutorials that we have done. So from the last tutorial we created an application called Smart Tuts First. So what we're gonna do is we are going to enable VCS in our Android application. Now in order to do that, we're gonna go to VCS. Ooh, what's happening to my... Oh, there it is. Okay, we're gonna go to VCS and we're going to say enable version control integration. Now the version control system to associate with this project is going to be Git. Now there are other version control associations and that you can integrate your project root, CVS, Mercurial, Subversion, but we're gonna stick to Git for this tutorial. Then you say OK. There you have a notification, created Git repository for your Smart Tuts First, which is the name of your... Now if you notice, as soon as you do that, your files turn red. That's the red is an indicator that none of these files have been added for Git versioning into your Git versioning folder. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to switch the view of our project from Android to project, and then we're going to right click and we're going to say git add. And you noticed the moment we do that, all the files colors changes from red to green. The next thing we're going to do, I normally do this twice, like I go to VCS and say git and say add again, just to be sure. Now if you don't want to right click and say git add, you could always say VCS git add. It still works the same way. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to perform what is known as commit push. Now in your toolbar, there's little VCS icon here that have been created the moment you edit Git to your Android Studio. When we went to VCS and we performed the add VCS to Android Studio, these icons automatically appeared. So we're gonna click this VCS icon, and we're going to basically add a message for our first commit, and we're going to call it initial commit. Looks like I misspelled initial. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say commit and push. Now what Gradle is going to do is going to perform a code analysis of all the files in your Android application. So let's just wait for that one to finish performing its code analysis. Now you're going to get this little pop-up code analysis message, and when this pops up, it's going to say some files contain problems, but it doesn't always do this. Sometimes it says no errors, but for now we're going to ignore the 3 warnings that we have and just press on commit. When this pops up, do you want to add the following files to Git? The files that it wants to add is .ide/vcs.xml. say yes. Now the next pop-up is push commits. Now in push commits, we want to define our remote. Now if you click on define remote just basically specifies the location where your Git files are sitting inside your BitBucket. Now if we return to our Smart Tuts code folder in our BitBucket, if you click on this folder, we're actually looking for a URL. Okay, let's just let's see where we can find our URL. What I normally do is, while this is an overview, I simply click on I have an existing project. You scroll up and you'll find a URL here. If you go to commits, you will also find a URL there, but we're gonna stick to this URL here. Now this URL is basically the name of your BitBucket, which is smarttuts and bitbucket.org. That's a URL of your entire BitBucket, and then the name of our folder or BitBucket with our main folder is smarttuts, and then smarttuts code is the name of the repository that we just created. We're gonna paste this URL in here. I'm gonna leave name as origin and press OK. And then push. Push successful. Now if you go to your BitBucket and you go to source, there is your entire application. And that's it. You've managed to connect your Android Studio to BitBucket, and you're now officially using a Git version control system. Now for all the code changes that we'll be making to our Android application, we are going to push each and every change to our repository in Git as we proceed with this tutorial. We'll learn all that stuff at a later stage, but for now you officially learned how to use Git.